Hello, I'm Bishop Mark Andrus, the Episcopal Bishop of the Diocese of California in the Episcopal Church and the head of delegation for the Episcopal Church's delegation to the Conference of Parties of the United Nations Climate Summit 25, meeting in Madrid, Spain this year, 2019. It's an honor to be speaking to you and telling you some about what our participation, the Episcopal Church's participation in climate action looks like in the United Nations context and in the world. When we began participating in the Conference of Parties, it was COP21, the famous Paris Agreement COP, overseen by Christiana Figueres, who was the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, who was then succeeded by our current Executive Secretary, Patricia Espinosa. And it was a very big deal for the world that year. And that's the year we started taking part. And it was new to us, this huge gathering of people in the outskirts of Paris, the suburban part of the north of Paris. And we tried to study, what does the Conference of Parties look like? What do people do in non-governmental agencies and organizations when they come to the Conference of Parties? That was the first year there was a so-called green zone where everyone could come in. The devastating Paris attacks had taken place only 3 weeks before. And even though security was enormously tight, as it needed to be, Paris nevertheless opened their doors in this green zone to everyone. There were children, there were college students, there were tourists, everyone was there. And we were part of the everyone. We didn't have observer status that year. We just decided it was important to be there. And it was a beginning of a journey for the Episcopal Church in the United Nations climate conferences. So we did some research on what do groups do. And we learned that you do advocacy. So we researched the climate and environmental policies of the Episcopal Church, and we used those as a platform for advocating for the most healthful, robust climate policies that the Paris Agreement could adopt. In fact, the sum total and direction of the Episcopal Church's policies was pushing towards the 1.5 degrees Celsius ceiling of warming above pre-industrial levels, which is the aspiration for the COP26 next year in Glasgow, Paris +5. The Paris Agreement was only able to agree to a 2-degree ceiling, too high, but better than no agreement. But we hope we can push towards what our church believes is the right level and the world believes is the right level, 1.5 degrees. So advocacy was one piece of that. Networking was another piece. That is, we made new partners and new friends, and we continue to do that, both within the faith communities, ecumenically, other Christian bodies, and interfaith, Buddhist and Hindu, Jewish, Islam, indigenous tribal religions, all learning how to work with each other. No doctrinal wrangling. We all came together for this one great common cause with real good heart. We also went to learn. We learned that there are so many venues at the COPs for people to hear seminars on innovative ways to reach sustainability, on what different groups are doing all over the world, how we can learn from each other to do better, to live more gently and better on the earth. And then it seemed to me that we needed to bring what was unique to us. What's our life as a Christian body in the Anglican Communion, the Episcopal Church? What do we have to offer? So we did these, what we call pop-up worship in the green zone. We would gather at a particular time of day, put a big, beautiful umbrella up that had been painted to look like the cosmos and the earth, and we played musical instruments and invited people in for a period of reflection on spiritual values that we believe internal to us and in our communities support sustainability. That year we looked at values like courage, compassion, forgiveness, and reconciliation. And we built more values in as we moved the next year to Marrakesh, and then the year after that to Bonn. These are open meetings that we had, standing outside in the public area and just inviting people in. It was remarkable. I remember in Marrakesh, something really exciting happened. We planned these meetings for half an hour, and we were in the flow of thousands of people moving along, and suddenly we were surrounded by up to 20, 30, 40 young Muslim adults, mostly women. And these were graduate students in large in environmental studies, environmental engineering, and architecture. And the first thing they said to us was, we did not come to the COP here in Marrakesh seeking technological answers. We have most of what we need in that regard. We were looking for spiritual answers because the climate problem is a spiritual problem. And so our little half-hour reflection and prayer time turned into 2 hours of people sitting down and engaging vigorously with each other with real heart and enthusiasm for learning with each other about how these values that we were putting forward influence their lives of climate action and support them. So we continue to believe that having a spiritual presence at the COPs is something that we as the Episcopal Church, in partnership with other faith bodies, ecumenically and interfaith, can offer.